All right, welcome to the Wheel Shack. We're here in my garage with my 2007 Toyota Yaris, and today we're going to install a cold air intake on it. Now this is a system I bought on eBay. It's nothing fancy, nothing expensive. I've had other systems in the past that were much nicer. This is sort of an experiment. I want to see if it's worth it or not. Hopefully it's okay. I've already looked at it. Quality seems to be okay, but let's get into it. So we need to remove the old intake system, which is all of this here. All this needs to come out. There's a tab here for the clip. You should be able to push down and get it to release. There we go. Then we want to open the tabs for the air filter. And you're gonna get a Phillips head screwdriver or a 10 mil socket. Either one will work, doesn't matter. And we'll loosen these guys. You don't necessarily have to take this one off, but can make it a little easier just to loosen and take both of them off. There's one here, top of the airbox, and there's one down here by the throttle body. Go and loosen that to the point that it's nice and free there. Again, so normally this hose here is clipped in here, so you want to pull that out. This here, there's a spot, there's a little tab, you can just slide it, just pull it out. And there's a little clamp on this hose. You want to undo that. You can grab this, bring it up here so it's up out of the way over. You want to undo that, pull that off. So we want to get the airbox. We'll pull the airbox open. We'll take the original air filter out. Not too bad. It's about 50,000 miles on it. Pretty good. So on the back side of the top of the airbox is a little clip here holding your MAF wiring harness. So you can squeeze that with some pliers or even a flathead screwdriver. You can push them and pop it out. Take that out. Then it has this little clip here. You can kind of just open it, pull that guy out. Now at this point, just go ahead and pull this to get it out of the way. Set it aside. You will need the mass airflow sensor later, so we'll take that off later. I don't want to take it off in here and potentially drop these little tiny screws, so we'll take that off later and reuse it on the cold air intake. At this point, we can pull off the rest of our hose fitting here to the throttle body. If it's loose enough, should come off. It's fighting me a little bit. There we go. There's your throttle body down there. So we're gonna get down in here. There's 2 bolts. And get in here with our double extension, need plenty of length. It's 10 mil. Again, we'll go and loosen those 2 bolts. Pretty easy to break free, they're not super tight. And then I already did a dry test fit of the cold air intake just to make sure everything worked. Unfortunately, the fitting that they gave me for the main pipe to the throttle body is too big for the throttle body. It's the proper size for the cold air intake, which is 2.5 inches. This is 2.25 inches. So I have, fortunately, some rubber hose and gasket material that will be able to work with it. So now that those are loose, we can pull that up. There's a little guide pin on the side over here. And then also you have your wiring harness for your mass airflow sensor. There's another clip here. Flip it over if you can. There's a clip down here. That's already kind of unclipped. And just try to get it out of there. There we go. And now we should be able to pull that all the way out. All right, so now we're gonna take the wheel off. So you're gonna need a jack stand, and obviously you're gonna need a necessary socket or lug key for your wheels. Where these are supposed to go, so you have this little L bracket with a hole here, you have this one with 3 holes, and I've been looking at stuff in here trying to make sense of where this is supposed to go. So now that you have your wheel out of the way, your wheel and tire comp out of the way, we need to remove this, just get it open out of the way. I mean, this was actually a different one. This one looks like it might be a 10. We'll take this off. Going down here, that's Phillips. So it looks like that should be enough. So I'm gonna have to kind of pull this out a little bit. There we go. Pull this out. This should break too many things. All right, there we go. Yeah, so there's a little clip here that had to be undone and pulled off. So take this plastic, because it's plastic, put it, just, if I did look at the filter, it does actually look like a pretty decent quality as far as the the paper that's in it, the particular filtration in it. So this I'm actually surprised with. This I think is the best quality part in this system. Having used K&N and AEM systems in the past, this filter actually does look really good. I actually really think that it'll be perfectly fine. So I said I want to put it in a position where I can easily get to it. There we go. After a lot of frustration, I did get the cold air intake installed on the Yaris. It took some finagling. I was not pleased at all with it. The mounts for the mass airflow sensor, I had to bore out slightly because they were about 1 millimeter off, so I couldn't get the screws in without potentially cross-threading, damaging it. Go ahead and let it run for a moment. We'll come and take a look here. You can see it is in there, but again, not how I would have liked to have mounted it. Not really happy with it, but let's give it a listen. I'm gonna drive it to work today. See how it goes. Is this something you should get? Just with the install, I would say no. I know there are others that exist, but they are a lot more expensive. But that was a big part of what I wanted to do here. I wanted to see what a budget cold air intake would be like, both to install, to run, everything that goes along with it. So update on the cold air intake that I installed. I drove it. It drove fine at first for a while, had no issues. Driving home last night, caused a check engine light to come on. So I've got my scanner in, I'm gonna turn it on now. So that came on last night while I was driving home from work. I drove to work, didn't have a single problem, it ran perfectly fine. No issue at all, and then last night driving home, it gave me a check engine light. So let's get the scan tool going. I'm gonna put it up here. Diagnose, yep, let's one fault on engine ECT, okay. Mass airflow, yeah. So P0101. So I'm just gonna clear it and then I'm going to remove the cold air intake and put the original back in. Okay, so after I moved the cold air intake and put the stock air box in, the Yaris has been running fantastic. I've been driving it for a couple days and it's been fine. No check engine lights, nothing. So that code, the P0101, MAF, I'm assuming was probably an air leak in the system. What caused it? Not entirely sure, but it was definitely from the cold air intake. And when I put the stock one back in, it's been fine, it went away. So my takeaway is from this whole experience is don't buy cheap. Cold air intake, if you're thinking about it, spend the money, buy something nicer. You know, both the install and running it were just a bad experience all around. You know, I'm out $58 now because of it. I can still return it because I'm still within the time frame, but it's just spend the money, get something nicer. Don't buy some cheap cold air intake. Learn from my mistakes. You know, hopefully you can take away something from this. Appreciate you watching. Take care. Till next time.